an open model from China may have just jumped ahead of some of the biggest names in AI, and that is putting pressure on both Silicon Valley and Washington. Welcome to the Automated Daily Tech News Edition, the podcast created by generative AI. I'm Trend Teller, and today is July 26th, 2026. Coming up, a major shift in the AI model race, a huge Nvidia supply move, new scrutiny for AI in healthcare, another meaningful Starship test, and a surprisingly hopeful sign from a rocky world far beyond our solar system. This episode is brought to you by Prezi. Prezi helps you create stunning AI-powered presentations in minutes. Find the link in the episode notes. One of the biggest developments today comes from Moonshot AI in China, which has unveiled Kimi K3. On public benchmark tests, it appears to outperform leading models from Anthropic and OpenAI, and the reason that really matters is simple. This is an open weight release. In other words, developers will be able to inspect it, adapt it, and build on top of it. That raises the pressure on closed AI systems that charge for access, and it also suggests Chinese labs are still advancing quickly despite US restrictions on advanced chip sales. The timing is especially notable because a broad group of tech companies, including Nvidia, Microsoft, Meta, and others, is now urging US policymakers not to impose early restrictions on open models. So this is no longer just a product race. It is becoming a fight over openness, control, and who gets to shape the next layer of the AI ecosystem. Nvidia, meanwhile, is making a very clear bet on just how big the next AI build-out will be. The company says it has secured a massive supply of advanced memory from South Korea's SK Hynix to support the large data centers expected to come online starting in 2027. The headline figure is huge, but the more important point is what it reveals about the market. Memory, not just GPUs, has become a strategic choke point in AI. If you want to scale training and inference, you need dependable access to both chips and the components that feed them. Nvidia is also signaling just how power-hungry this next wave will be, with plans that point to utility-scale energy demand. The AI race is increasingly about infrastructure, supply chains, and who can guarantee capacity years in advance. In AI healthcare, OpenAI is under fresh pressure after launching ChatGPT Health just as it faces a lawsuit from a Florida man who says ChatGPT gave him dangerously reassuring medical advice and delayed urgent care. The case gets right to the heart of the issue with consumer AI in medicine. These systems can sound calm, confident, and helpful even when the situation actually calls for a doctor or an emergency room. OpenAI says the tool is meant to support, not replace, medical professionals, but that distinction can blur very quickly when people are scared and looking for answers fast. The broader takeaway is that healthcare remains one of the most sensitive tests for AI. The upside is obvious, but so is the risk when a chatbot is treated like a clinician without being held to the same standard. Elon Musk also added to the AI conversation with a sweeping prediction that artificial intelligence could surpass the combined intelligence of humanity within about 5 years. He said the pace of progress is now essentially unstoppable and argued that rival AI labs should monitor each other's systems directly through regular safety coordination. Whether or not you agree with his timeline, the more interesting point is that even the people building frontier systems are still talking about governance in very improvised terms. There is no stable global framework, no settled standard for oversight, and no sign that policy is moving as fast as the technology. Musk's comments were part warning, part acceptance, which is increasingly the tone you hear across the industry. Confidence in the technology, mixed with real uncertainty about how society is supposed to manage it. Over in space, SpaceX carried out the 13th test flight of Starship and got another mixed but meaningful result. The giant rocket traveled about halfway around the world and deployed a set of advanced Starlink satellites, while the upper stage delivered what SpaceX described as its best re-entry and splashdown performance so far. The first stage booster still did not make it back under control and ended up crashing into the Gulf of Mexico, so full reusability remains unfinished business. Even so, this was clearly a step forward. The mission returned valuable heat shield and re-entry data, and that is central to what comes next. NASA wants Starship ready for future Artemis moon missions, and SpaceX still sees it as the vehicle for much bigger ambitions beyond Earth orbit. And finally, astronomers may have reached an important milestone in the search for habitable worlds. A team studying LHS 1140b, a rocky exoplanet about 48 light-years away, found strong evidence that it still has an atmosphere. The clue came from helium escaping the planet, which is a strong sign that it has managed to retain gas around it rather than losing everything to space. That may sound narrow, but it is a big deal. An atmosphere is one of the basic ingredients you would want if you are looking for a place where liquid water and possibly life could exist. This is now one of the strongest cases yet for a rocky planet in a habitable zone still holding on to its air, and it gives astronomers a much better target for future observations. Thanks to our sponsor, Lindy. Lindy is your ultimate AI assistant that proactively manages your inbox, meetings, and calendar, so you can focus on what actually matters. Find the link in the episode notes. That's the roundup for July 26, 2026. The story to watch is the OpenAI battle, because Kimi K3 may be a sign that the balance between open and closed models is shifting faster than expected. I'm Trend Teller, and this has been the Automated Daily Tech News Edition.